Welcome to Code and Concrete, the leading podcast for prop tech, conversations about the built environment, and other exciting innovations. If you learn something new, please consider following and leaving a positive review. Enjoy. Hi folks, joining me in the studio today we have Rod Santomassimo, and he's the founder of the Massimo Group, the leading coaching organization for commercial real estate brokers worldwide. He is a 5-time best-selling author, a patented inventor, and a 2-time recipient of Duke University's MBA Alumni of the Year award. Rod helps brokers earn more in less time by immersing them in the people, processes, and platforms proven to drive exponential growth. He's leading the way in integrating AI into commercial real estate, assisting his clients in streamlining their work and securing more opportunities faster. Rod, thank you so much for coming on to Code and Concrete.
Matthew, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love or enjoy the perspective of folks who are in real estate already. They've been operating for decades and they're finding new ways to integrate the technology. And the reason why I prefer experience first, then tech is because you're familiar with all the problems in the industry. You're not going to try to apply technology where it doesn't belong. And I think we'll dive into that throughout the conversation, where you're using it, where you're not able to use it yet. But before we do, let's figure out who you are. Rod, what's your background and how did you get here today?
After grad school, I believe it or not, was coding for Arthur Andersen in New York City, back to my hometown. I was looking for a big bureaucracy, hated it, every moment of it. And I recognized pretty quickly thereafter I can't work for a big firm. And so I went to commercial real estate brokerage right after that, about 14 months into my career. And then I went back and forth based on the economy. I was a CFO of a law firm. I was a COO of a telecom firm. We took public. I was a COO of a development firm. And finally, before the Massimo Group, an executive vice president for an international brokerage, real estate brokerage firm. I've always loved real estate brokerage. I love the entrepreneurship of it, but I also love business. And so Massimo Group has helped me to, combine the two loves of building businesses within commercial real estate brokerage.
That's fantastic. Well, let me ask real quickly. So within that journey, because we skimmed over all of your life pretty quickly, I mean, what drew you to the brokerage side of things? I think later on we talk about it's a very relationship driven, but why did you think that was the best place? Was it a certain strength that you had or something else?
Well, growing up, my father was a consultant before there were consultants in real estate and commercial real estate. And he, believe it or not, Matthew, had me reading leases when I was 11 years old. Instead of going out and playing ball or around the street, we all did, right? He would actually have me read leases. And I hated it, but he shared me, this is what business is about. And one day you're going to realize this is how business is created. So I read leases, and then every summer job I had, even through grad school, had some real estate component to it, whether it be a gopher or a property manager. And finally, I was a gopher for a brokerage firm running around buildings in South Florida and knocking on doors and asking tenants about their leases. So I was immersed in commercial real estate and brokerage since I was a kid. And Matthew, when I went off to grad school, I looked at my dad and said, Dad, I'm never going to be in commercial real estate. So after learning the corporate world and for me, how stagnant it was, I recognized the attraction, lured me back into being an independent contractor and just, making my own ways. And that's where I went back.
Awesome. Very interesting. Well, over that time period, I'm curious, how have you seen this industry, if the brokerage industry, if we'll call it that, how have you seen that evolve, or at least this portion of the real estate life cycle where now it's time to transact, we need to build relationships, we need to find people who are great buyers for a building. How have you seen that evolve over time? And particularly, but before we get into AI, how have you seen things break? Where did the weaknesses or the struggles or the friction or the bottlenecks start to emerge?
Yeah. Look, you asked me over time. I've been doing this now for, almost 50 years. Think about it, since I was reading leases. So professionally, 40 years. And So the number one change has been technology, and even not even including AI. I mean, just having a cell phone. You can't relate to this, but we used to go to the corner with quarters and on a tour and use and use quarters on the payphone to try to make sure someone would show up for a meeting. So the technology has been the greatest change by far. But even with technology, where it breaks and it's always broken and still breaks today, is that look, if you're running your business by a calendar, your phone, your memory, your hustle, your inbox, right? That's not a system. It isn't, and you just don't get a system by having more discipline. That's not it. And so when the volume starts to hit, everything breaks. So I think this where the breaking points show are the symptoms are inconsistent pipelines, poor follow up, weak database, too much reaction, not enough proactive responses. So when I look at it, when you add the technology, the AI to chaos, it's not going to make things better. It's just make it more chaotic. So the short answer is, where's the system? And that's what we coach at the Massimo Group.
That's really interesting because ultimately, brokers who have those problems, they're not following up or they're not communicating well to the right people. You will have those problems even with technology. The technology doesn't necessarily patch it. You have to focus on process first, and technology maybe becomes an enabler. And as we dive into AI, I could definitely see how it would fill in the gaps for folks who are bad at outreach or bad at following up. But, so brokers might pose the problem, hey, I need technology because I'm not getting enough leads, enough deals, or there just isn't enough time in my day. So I'm going to use technology. But describe to us what you think is the real underlying problem there.
Yeah, if you don't have leads, then that's not the problem. That's a symptom. It just is. What it means is, right, you just don't have the right systems, and more so, you just mentioned the key word here. Think about all the past clients, we call them inactive clients, all the old prospects, all the referral sources, all the property owners, tenants, investors, everyone that's in your community, in your market, in your database. And you have the leads. You do. You have the qualities. You just don't have the system to take advantage of the leads. And you say you're too busy. So you're spending more time doing what most brokers do when they come to us, really low value activities, right? And without a system, you get busy, right? But you're not doing the business. So it goes back to that same approach we said earlier. Do you have the systems? And if not, again, it's not really a lead problem. It's a leverage problem, put it that way. And so where's the focus? Where's the follow-up?
Maybe this is sort of a simple question, but just so that we're all working with the same definition, in this context, what is a system?
Yeah. A system by nature is a process that has been defined, and more so, it has been architected out so we understand when X happens, Y occurs. It could be a simple system of how you handle your emails. Be a simple system of how you handle your calendar every weekend, what you look at, right? How you handle your activities throughout your day. Systems don't have to be tech. They don't. They can be manual. But systems are nothing more than having a defined process of how you get things done.
That's a great definition. So you believe brokers should be investing some time into building a system because the downstream effect is that they will save time then in the future. Are there any other areas as brokers are putting together their systems and maybe we'll introduce technology now where they should be concentrating their time, their focus to become better brokers?
Yeah, I mean, let's things like so Matthew, everyone focuses on a to-do list, and that becomes the whirlwind and the chaos and the frustration, right? Everyone should also have a not to-do list. They should. So you stop the email babysitting, the random, and I mean random networking. Why are you going? What does success look like? Define it. Just don't go to a conference, an event, unless you know what success looks like. You check in with prospects with no value at all. Hey, I'm just checking in. What a total waste of time. You're doing admin work that you should be handling to AI today, or if not, then to a VA in the Philippines or in South Africa that could do it really well for a fraction of your cost. Or you're doing all this research and now you have a market study and you give it to someone without telling them what does it mean to them. Here's our latest market study. So what? It doesn't matter. Tell me what it means to me. And certainly, lastly, we make sure that Massimo, you really need that meeting? Really? So think about it. Systems should protect your time for strategic prospecting, for relationship advancement, I guess is the right word. Client advisory conversations, not commodity broker conversations. Yeah, you should be doing market studies, but applying to your clients. And yet you should be following up with purpose. And more so, you should always spend some time working on your business, as Michael Gerber wrote about in his great book, The E-Myth Revisited. Spend time planning and thinking as well. That's you got. So I think someone's told me this. If you stop treating your calendar like an open parking lot, hey, anyone can come fill it. It's okay. No, you gate it up. You can't come in unless you're allowed. And if you're allowed, you have to take that spot because the other spots are for me controlling my life and my business. And that's how I think you look at it.
Right. Well, that makes tremendous sense. So now that we've instructed brokers to set their priorities and then not be afraid to say no, people are very hesitant to saying no because they know that opportunity lies around every corner and they don't want to miss out. But if you know what you're looking for, you do have the freedom to say no. So now that brokers know they've got to build up their priorities, they're dedicating time to certain areas. Where, from your experience, have you been able to work in technology or specifically artificial intelligence to compound those results? Because once you do something well, you should double down on it, right?
Right. But again, unless you have a system in place and you know where the leak is in your system, that's what AI is for, right? Let's yes, you can write emails and you can write LinkedIn posts and all those great things. That's great, but that may save you time. Doesn't mean what you're putting out is any good. By the way, it just doesn't. So it's actually hurting you in many cases. And we all read those. Matthew, you go to LinkedIn and go AI, AI, AI. You do, right? So no value. So think about it. There's always systems and everyone in commercial real estate, everyone should have a CRM. Many don't. It drives me, I can't believe it, not having a CRM, a database, a client relation management system. That's very simple. But AI, yeah, let's use AI purposely for market research. Let's use AI purposely for meeting preparation to get the most value when you have the opportunity to have that discovery session. Yes, let's use AI for meeting notes and let's use AI for follow-up. Sure. But let's also use AI for its acceleration practices and traits. So now I can use AI to tell the world about a listing, to use AI bots to talk to potential investors and tenants. I can use AI now to command higher fees. I can use AI now to share with an investor, landlord, look, I don't need 6 or 12 months to have an exclusive relationship. Just give me one. Because I can get it all done in 1 month now. And Matthew, with those individuals who determine and leverage AI in that way, they not only win more assignments, they'll command higher fees. And I know this because that's what we're doing with our clients. We have the systems and platforms where our clients can go in and leveraging AI bots and AI automations to only need an exclusive relationship for a month or less.
Incredible. So the immediate return are tremendous efficiencies all throughout the life cycle of a deal, if we'll call it that. Because a property is getting ready to sell and then they go to a brokerage firm. You help handle a lot of the paperwork and building up the relationships, picking up the phone and calling and then helping to close that and whatnot. So yeah, we'll call it the life cycle of the deal beforehand, and then the broker sits in the middle and hopefully the after with the new buyer and their satisfied product that they've purchased. Where do you see throughout that AI is still missing, or maybe you were more optimistic about it initially. You thought it was going to solve a problem, and it didn't. And then you did give some examples, but where is it working really, really well already?
Yeah, look, the timing of this podcast, there's been this seemingly shift in the brokerage community to realizing, and it's wrong, by the way. Let's jump from this LLM to this LLM, right? Let's jump from OpenAI chat to Claude because Claude now has all these features, right? OpenAI just opened the same features, by the way. But so I think one of the problems is this jump to the more attractive LLM of the month, the flavor of the month, right? My thought there is let's pick one, let's learn it as best as we can, and let's leverage the hell out of it. Right now, we're leveraging Claude Cowork and Claude Code more than anything else. That may change in 6 months. It very well could. But let's use AI to help us using platforms such as those to really understand our client, to really create customized, independent, individual market studies, customized, independent, individual white papers, research papers. Let's share with our prospects that we understand what they are and using AI, whether it's using neural language or AVA or Myers-Briggs psychographics. Let's really leverage the tools that it can show us that we're the authorities versus just another broker. I think that's where you're going to see a better leveraging of the AI platforms today.
Interesting question. Wasn't on the script, a little bit of a curveball, but has AI ever thrown you a terrible curveball, like gave you wrong answers,
All the time.
wrong info?
All the time. It does, even today, still. Even with all the advanced prompting we're doing and the advanced context models we're doing, AI hallucinates.
Mhm.
Most people don't realize that. Yes, it hallucinates. And gosh forbid you create a market study and you put it out there under your brand or your company's brand and you haven't verified the information. Well, you're gonna look first of all, you're gonna be absolutely look like a horse's butt, but more so, you're gonna be commoditized and not recognized for the authority you should be. So yes, AI and its output needs always to be validated and verified before leveraging it in any way.
100%. So how do you do that? Are you looking at the data that it's ingesting, or are you only working with like customized models, or do you spend a lot of time prompt engineering? How
Yeah.
do you
It's
mitigate
prompt
that?
engineering, it's contextualizing, it's verifying, it's recognizing when you can ask AI, give me the source. Let me see the source. And yes, source check. I know people think I don't need to write an essay in college anymore, right? Because it does it. No, just back when I was, at least when I was in college, we would write papers. We'd go to the library back then. You kids can't remember this. And we look up the sources and we cite the sources. This is where I got it. This is valid. This is accurate, right? You have to still do all that with AI. And now the scary part is today, especially in real estate, you can underwrite a deal using OpenAI or today chat or Claude. I can underwrite a deal right now. I could do a BOV in 5 minutes. I don't need 2 weeks, right? But is it correct? Are the assumptions correct? Is the math correct? Is that decision we're making based on a cap rate or IRR or cash on cash rate of returns, are they all correct? Or did my AI bot just throw this out and say, here's your answers, let's go share this? That's where you get in trouble.
Right, right. Definitely need to have controls or governance. And in this way, people are acting more as quality assurance. They're overseeing the work being done, making sure that it's good, but they don't have to do all of the manual, tedious pencil pushing that they traditionally had
Not at
to.
all. Not at all.
Yeah, and lots of time savings there, cost savings as well, because traditionally maybe you would have needed to bring on additional labor in order to do that, or uh, when you could have been pursuing a deal, you were instead doing paperwork. And so there's opportunity cost there. Although, interesting question for folks who are more junior getting into the industry, and that was usually where they built up their knowledge, and that becomes wisdom. And now AI is taking over. How do you think that those folks should how should they approach getting a job in this market? Like if they wanted to work with you or become a fantastic broker or build up a brokerage firm, knowing that there's fewer candidates to take them under their wing.
Yeah, and I actually we're publishing a white paper on this subject. I think next week on the death of the junior broker because it really has become an unnecessary position for most brokerage firms. Now you need them from a legacy standpoint. You need them for handing off, but the work they did, the administrative work, the research, that's all pretty much gone just away. It has. I will share with you that we just replaced someone just just last week that it was a vendor that we were paying. Maybe it wasn't significant. It was significant in any case, but AI now does everything that vendor was doing for us. Everything, right? The newsletters, the landing pages, the LinkedIn posts, everything, that copywriting, in the right context, it does that. But so if I'm the junior broker right now and I want to get into the industry, I want to come prepared in two ways. The separation still is, show me you were committed and you're willing to work your butt off. So many don't want to do it. They don't want to put in the work. Show me you do, you're willing to do the grind, but also come with the aptitude and the skills that are required in an AI world. Don't come to me saying, hey, I don't know Chat or Claude or Perplexity or whatever it might be, right? Come to me knowing and demonstrating that not only can you come and give me value, you can come and send me some money right away. You can do things that my seniors, they'll never be able to do, but you can. You read it everywhere on the internet today, on the social media channels, how more and more people are taking better prepared juniors who understand technology, even though it's not a tech job. Commercial real estate brokers has never been a tech job. It's a relationship skill, right? But they're the ones we're going to hire going forward. It's just the way it is.
Now, the other side of that coin, do you see any senior roles that might be replaced by
Oh, of
AI
course.
or even the brokerages themselves?
Oh, brokerages, yes. Brokerages will be replaced. But not I'm saying the ones that are frailing in the wind right now and trying to struggle with market shifts, they can't survive. Those will continue to just evaporate. They will. Um, the seniors who don't have the relationships in place, many seniors have, especially in the big brokerage firms, they keep their seniors because their seniors have the relationships, and they do. And there's relationships that create the opportunities. And that's the way the world's always worked. It is. So when that senior no longer has those relationships, and now I'm competing with a junior who has still the same void of relationships, but now is better equipped to go and attack the market and have better research and be a bigger asset to my prospect. Yeah, they're in trouble.
100%. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about walking the line because you can use AI to be very effective, but people don't like interacting with something that feels emotionless, totally automated, or that the other party can't make time for them. So, how are you, I guess, pulling back on AI a little bit so that it's not intrusive or overwhelming or apathetic to your clients?
Yeah, Matthew, I think next month, it's on the drawing board for next month. We're going to introduce the market the first ever AI broker coach.
Hmm.
Right, we are. And unlike any technology out there right now, it doesn't need prompting. It will prompt you for a response versus it's actual conversational versus you need to prompt and initiate the conversation. When I share this with my 30 plus coaches in our organization, all their eyebrows went up. Rod, are we being replaced? Absolutely not. Like you just said, at this time, people are not yeah, can I order my pizza with an AI bot? Absolutely. I'll do that all day long. But will I have serious confidential conversations where I need the contextual understanding of what I'm going through to depend on AI? No. I still know that a broker coach who's been doing this for 20 years and has navigated all the ups and downs, that's the person I'm going to depend on. So we're not replacing our coaches anytime soon with AI. Absolutely not. But we will be supplementing and complementing our coaching uh, workbench with those that maybe are not ready to make the investment. So we'll give them an opportunity for a lesser experience with AI.
Right, right. And I think the differentiator there is that you can obtain some knowledge by working with this AI coach or just AI in general. Knowledge being information, it's out there, just needs to be gathered. It's the wisdom, which is the accumulative knowledge and then contextualized knowledge, that is extraordinarily valuable because you might have the right answer, but if you deliver that in the wrong setting, it could be maybe incorrect or inappropriate. More
Yes.
often, you could have the right answer, but if you don't say it in a way, or if you don't deliver it in a way, or if you don't understand the other party and they didn't, AI doesn't know that they are really opposed to data centers in their backyard or something, and you just say, well, this is the fantastic deal, this is going to be the biggest data center in your backyard. You don't have, it lacks that wisdom, which is very, very valuable, and people underestimate the human memory. They are amazed that artificial intelligence can scrape information really quickly, and they say, wow, this is so smart, smarter than people. But people have this impressive ability to compound information decades across decades, and then also to create signal out of all of that information. Say this was the best point, this was the best learning point. AI is not able to prioritize like that. It looks at everything as on a blank playing field. Everything is equal, all the information is the same, and that actually means that as it runs out of memory, it doesn't know what to keep and what not to keep, and then it might prioritize the wrong information. Again, it's not a person, so it's not saying, oh, this is really important to me. It just slips, it forgets, that's pushed out. There's not enough tokens to retrieve that context, and then it gives you half an answer, which again could be incorrect or inappropriate.
And that's why every element of that technology today has its limitation. But I will say this week I was on the phone with American Express. I talked to their bot, and all I could say was representative, because it had no context, right? I had an issue with one of my carts, right? Like I shared to you, I called up my son wanted pizza the other day, and we called up the pizzeria. Hey Rod, how you doing? You want that notice pizza you had last time? Hey, this week we're doing this and this. Okay, Rod, we'll call you back when pizza's ready. No teenage kid on the phone going, what do you want? It was perfect experience, right?
Hmm.
So while I do agree with you, AI shouldn't be able to replace many high level conversations. It's already replacing the low level ones and doing a better job.
There's also this issue where people are delegating or over delegating to artificial intelligence. And then when they are in the room, they are having a conversation. They don't actually know what they're talking about because the AI did the research, it's had the conversation, and then you're on the call or you're in the room and you're totally left out. How do we protect against that? How do we ensure that we're not over delegating to AI and actually stunting our relationship growth or our critical thinking?
Yeah, and I guess I always look at things and from and we have these exercises at Massimo we call the matrix, not the matrix, but the matrix, where the Massimo matrix, where you look at the perspectives of different shareholders and stakeholders and issues, and where that reminds me, based on the context of your question, is you must have the framework from multiple perspectives, and the AI is just one. It's just one. And I don't need you if that's your only perspective. I could pay $20 a month for that perspective. I can. I don't need you. And you're right. It's a great point, Matthew. There are so many people that are now they've lost their identity and their authority by depending on nothing more than what a bot spits out based on what Sam Altman or whomever said this is what the answer should be.
100%. And this is why I do like these conversations as well as public speaking, because I've seen plenty of folks who seem like the most brilliant individuals on the face of the earth from their LinkedIn posts. They just know everything. They hit all the points and they're so punctual with it. If you ever get them on a call or you put them on a stage, suddenly they don't have anything to say. And it is an attack on their authority. And sometimes it even, I'm not saying I do this, but people will question their character. Like, what was the purpose of the AI then? Was it just to get us to believe in what you were saying, to trick us, to convince us, and you don't actually know what's going on? So you have to be very careful with that you're not playing into some sort of character or persona that is not actually you. If you're trying to be, I'm the most brilliant broker in the world, I know everything, but if you actually get me in a room, I'm a know nothing, people will say this is really deceiving. It actually damages the trust that I had with you, because now you at the center of the system or the mastermind behind it all, I can't rely on you, you know?
No, no, it's like, hey, it's not just, but that's not just an AI issue, right? That's anywhere you get your information from. And are you a fraud, right? Are you? You know, or are you being authentic? Which one are you being right now? And I think most of us, no, let me go. People are being bad people exist in this world, and there's always the fraudsters. But to your point, at our level, we recognize authenticity when we see it, when we
Mhm.
hope at least. But it's harder today because the lines have gotten more blurry.
Right.
100%,
Especially in a digital world, which is
especially in
why
the digital world.
in-person events are super valuable. And in fact, right after this episode, I'm heading to a Contractors, Closers, and Connections event, and I think they have a fantastic Charlotte chapter. I'll be going to the one in
I was
Atlanta.
actually just invited to be a guest and speaker at the Atlanta event. Unfortunately, I have a conflict in October, but yeah, that's a great organization.
We might be thinking about the same event. I think it's AI Revolution or something like that. So there's a small panel going on. I'm on that panel actually. So
Awesome.
if you have any talking points that you want me to cover, and I'm certain I'll call back to this conversation because this is a real application of AI across the real estate life cycle and the transaction stage. There's so much at stake, the accumulative data about the property that has to be gathered beforehand and then put in the hands of the people who are not only creating that value, but trying to communicate that to the other party. And then all the
Well,
networking.
let's think about that exact scenario. Think about this. This was happening today, right? You're an investor, institutional private owner, and a broker is taking your rent rolls and some comps, and they're feeding it in their AI LLM of choice, and they're coming up with a cash flow sheet and an investment portfolio and saying, "Here's our answers. Here you go." And then you're taking on your end, and you're taking this AI potential slop, uploading it to your LLM, even for your institution, and saying, "Go, here are the numbers, check the numbers." And so, what just happened? Right? What just happened? Did we remove all the human knowledge away from that equation because AI says it should be this and it makes no sense at all, and therefore making bad decisions from an investment standpoint, occupancy standpoint? So at what point do we say, let's not do any AI today. We can just depend on Excel without code. I don't know.
Right, right. I think that we'll get to the points that artificial intelligence is more reliable, but there's two things that have to precede that. Number one, just the tools themselves, they have accuracy issues. And so if you're using a tool to extract data, then to synthesize the data, then to communicate that, it gets put into someone else's model, and each is 92% correct, that's 0.92 times 0.92, and it just degrades over and over. And then there's the information substrate. What do we know about this property? Is this data true? Is it truthful? Is it coming from documents that we can rely upon, produced by people that we trust? And that's really absent in the first place. And then we might scrape some public information that's outdated. So real estate in general needs a lot more data. It needs to be data rich, and it needs good, verified, trustworthy data that we can call upon and then feed into our models. And then only then, when applying AI models on top of that, or even just typical Excel sheet models, whatever it is, whenever we're doing the computing, as that gets refined, if it has good data, it'll be far more effective. So I think that's one of the major things holding back the industry, because you as a broker, as you help transact, you're putting your name on the output of the AI. So you really want to trust whatever information it gathered, and you're still going to do your diligence after the AI gathered some details and put it all in a structured manner. You're still going to look over it and say, that looks out of place. Let me look into this. Is this accurate? When was this produced? By whom? Under what circumstances? Then say, Looks good. Let's proceed.
Yes, yes, I agree 1,000%. Let's just hope that that is actually occurring, the validation and verification of the information before we hand it off.
Well, there's companies like ours, not to solicit what we do at Building, but that's what we prioritize because we know that data and trust precede any intelligence. We're putting that in quotes because it's artificial intelligence or markets. Just as the industry was already established on relationships and doing our diligence and verification, as we move into a digital era and we all want to move fast and transact fast, doesn't mean we can throw that out the window. We just need a new method of doing it.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
Fantastic. Well, Rod, this has been a wonderful conversation. As we wrap up here, do you have a call to action, anything that you want people to get involved with? And then where can they find all of that?
Yeah, first of all, I do look, everyone in this listening should absolutely study AI. I spend a half an hour every day. I'm gonna be 63 in a couple of weeks. I spend every day studying AI newsletters, YouTube, learning, because I don't want to be left behind. It's just that's simple. And so there's no excuse not to. Everyone should be studying AI. If you're a broker out there and you want to significantly increase your income, yeah, check us out at Massimo, Massimo .coach.com. Oh, sorry, .coach, Massimo.coach. And we love to chat with anyone. But Matthew, this has been a blast. And I love these conversations of this intellectual ping pong that someone has told me was the way we go. And it's been a blast. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And I'm going to steal that. I'm going to say intellectual ping pong because I love the analogy. And I'll have links to your LinkedIn as well as I believe your Instagram as well, and then company page so people can look into what you're doing, see if it's a good fit, and hopefully get involved because I appreciated this conversation. I think you're thinking about this the right way. So if I wanted anyone to have a big takeaway or get involved, it would be someone with your perspective. So thank you very much. And folks, if you enjoyed the conversation, of course, like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star on whatever platform you're listening to. All right, Rod. Until next time.